everybody, and welcome to Epic Everyday. I'm Liz Ferrix, and this is my husband, Evan.
Hey.
He's giving me thumbs up.
You're doing great so far.
You just love my intro so much.
No, thumbs up was for you. Now everybody knows.
This week, we have been talking about calm. Today, we're going to talk about some practical, how the heck do you actually be calm?
Yeah, I mean, probably we've said it. That sounds nice, but how do you do it? And there's some of the things we mentioned throughout the week, but we're gonna just run down. We've got a bunch of ideas, and not everything will resonate with you, but you could try one or two things this week. I mean, it's the weekend, so maybe if you have some extra time on Saturday or Sunday, you could give something a shot.
Yeah, and 1% improvement. So just pick one of the ideas that you like. You don't have to do them all. And just if you did not listen yesterday as to why you should want to be calm, you should go listen to that, because why would you put into practice something you have no idea why it's important? But I will tell you just two little sneak peeks for yesterday's show are that if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So changing your mindset from being in fight or flight to being able to have a creative brain can really change your life, because it changes the way you handle stuff.
Yeah. And the mechanics of that is getting out of stressful fight or flight mode and getting back down into calm mode, right?
Right.
Like the whatever put you in fight or flight mode, you're not solving that.
Right.
And then
you can't solve it
right.
when you're in fight or flight, because your creative brain shuts off.
Yeah. But you're lowering your that heightened awareness, high alert mode down to, and that can only come out of a place of faith. I mean,
right.
You don't have to be a Christian, I guess. A lot of people try to use meditation or something to do that, but the truest and most purest way to do that is through your relationship with God and the understanding of His providence and His will for your life and His control.
Right, that He's working everything out for the good of those who love Him.
Yeah, and sometimes if we're in that spot, it's hard to hear those verses because it's like, that's not helping me.
Right.
There's, something's still wrong. Having a car accident, that's a pretty okay, time to freak out, right? Perfect opportunity. And it doesn't have to be.
Well, and as a personal example, when we first found out that I had autoimmune disease, it was like, oh no, what are we going to do? But then the Lord has definitely used that. And even the healthiest that I have gotten from my autoimmune disease was because I got horribly sick with whooping cough.
Yeah.
And I was forced to rest. I was pretty much bedridden for 9 months. So I'm saying it feels like freak out mode, but, God has used my autoimmune disease to help me work through my trauma. I'm healthier in the PTSD department than I ever have been. And God used my whooping cough to help me get over the autoimmune disease. I mean, I went from being in a wheelchair to not being in a wheelchair. That's a pretty big difference. So.
Yeah. Just to continue rehashing just a little bit yesterday. I mean, we talked about the pain motivators or the benefit motivators, and that's that pain motivator, it can push us into where we have to choose a different way of life, because
the old one ain't working anymore.
And having children was one of those for me. Not that that's a crisis, but it was definitely a wake up call. It's like, what am I doing? I need to be a little bit more intentional about this.
We did not screw up our kids.
And so highly motivating, and through stress. But on the other side now, we can see the benefits, and we like to preach about the benefits, and it's much more effective, I think, to engage in something because of a positive reason than a negative reason.
Yes. So speaking of our kids, let's talk about some awesome practical ways to be calm. Okay. I say that because...
yeah, I'm waiting.
Because Meredith's mantra, which I mentioned to you guys, her hurry, don't rush. Like, she's started telling me that multiple times a day, and it's good to hear. It's good to be reminded. Like,
Yeah.
every time I'm like, okay, guys, we got to do this new thing, she's like, yes, but hurry, don't rush. So.
Yeah, that's a good little memorable phrase.
So there's one thing you can remember that, just have that phrase pop into your brain and go, wait a minute. Even though I am going to continue working hard and I'm going to, do one thing and then the next thing, which we talked about not multitasking. So, being aggressively in the present. You're doing this thing.
That's one of the things.
Yeah. And the next thing. So working on that rather than trying to do 80 million things at once.
Yeah. Yeah, so we talked about aggressively being in the present on Monday. We had a list of things on Tuesday that we talked about. One was this book, The House That Cleans Itself. That's been a housekeeping renaissance for us.
Yes.
It's been amazing putting that technique into practice, just as far as running a household.
Right, and I don't know about you guys, but for me, a disordered environment leads to a disordered mind. And a big part of that is my personality, just in general. I do not do well with chaos. Like, it makes me feel like claustrophobic if the house is too messy. So,
Yeah.
But if that's a thing for you, the house that cleans itself is awesome because you can stop spending so much time cleaning.
Yeah. Well, and even if it's not a thing day in, day out, but if maybe you do have company over however frequently or infrequently, but it's a mad dash for the 12 hours ahead of time.
Yeah.
The house that cleans itself can eliminate that mad dash right before
Yes.
the guests come over, because your house is kind of more just being managed all the time.
Yeah, like Fly Lady says, you live in chaos, can't have anyone over syndrome.
Yeah. So that adds to our calm immensely.
Yes.
We also talked about pausing.
When you're switching from one activity to the next, stop and count 6 breaths. Just take a second, remind yourself that you want to be in the present, that you can hurry, not rush, that you don't have to freak out.
Yeah.
And that kind of helps reset your brain. Because that's the thing, at least for me anyway, is that as the day goes by, I get progressively more and more stressed because each activity kind of builds on the stress of the last activity.
That's a hard one, actually, to just stop for 20 seconds,
breaths.
5 seconds, whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind
it's
of
not going to feel productive.
No, it doesn't. But it resets your stress in between activities rather than carrying the stress of the previous activity into the next activity. You can kind of do a reset and focus on this activity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Try to build that habit. I'm still working on it.
Yes.
All this stuff. We're students. So yeah.
Okay, now you can go on and join the Tai Chi class.
Well, I don't know. Kind of just mentioning these, but yeah, find a Tai Chi class that is where the instructor is. Well, I don't know. How would you know the differences better than I do?
So the Tai Chi class that I have that I love is focused on learning kind of the foundation of Tai Chi. So it's way more focused on the principles of, like, Peter Ralston's 5 Tai Chi principles being calm, relaxed, centered, grounded, and whole and total. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you find somebody who's one of Peter Ralston's students, they tend to be way more into that stuff than someone who is just focused on trying to learn the choreography or using it martially.
Right. Our teacher talks about it as a moving meditation. I mean, I don't know if they all do that, but it's more of a it's a mindset.
Some of them do. Yeah.
I mean, it's a mindset and a physical, like, where your arms at and stuff. But there's a connection there. We also talked about getting out in nature.
That always helps me take a deep breath.
Yeah.
We have a spot by this lake that's near us that's like this
Mm-hmm.
one little peninsula that only has one campsite on it, and you can sit there and hear the waves coming up against the rocks, and
Yep, that's our stargazing spot too. We've
it's
gone out there and
lovely.
watched
The Perseids.
the shooting stars, or there was a big blood moon back in October of 2016, wasn't it?
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
when it was, but that was pretty amazing. So yeah, there are things, and then schedule downtime, which people who love their schedule are probably going to have to do that. Schedule it ahead of time. Don't just figure you'll squeeze it in today
Right.
sometime.
Right. And if you don't schedule small downtime, you can always focus on having a Sabbath. You will
Yeah,
probably hear us talk about that more, but having a Sabbath has been a huge game changer for our family. So,
yeah, very important. On Wednesday, we talked about putting down your phone when you're waiting in line. And
otherwise
that
known as
seems like,
stare at the wall.
yeah, that seems like a small one, but uh, challenge your challenge yourself to do that. It's hard.
It is hard.
Yeah, I don't even have. I don't know what it is. I don't even have data, so I can't refresh Twitter or anything if I'm out and about. But I still want to like look and see what time it is, see if I have any texts, and it's
Yeah.
better to just breathe for a minute and you can take in your surroundings,
Yep.
be aware of the other people in line, maybe say hi to somebody.
Not that.
Yeah, but that could be a good one. And then we also talked about the importance of self-care on Wednesday.
If I don't have my self care time, I'm a disaster. So, to me, that means having your time with Jesus, doing the things that you need to do to be a functional human being. Like for me, if I do not run in the morning and read through my journal to remind myself of the things the Lord has taught me, I'm not even. It's like people that need their coffee. If you need your coffee to be a functional human being, maybe that's part of your self care.
It could be.
Just depends.
Yeah.
But
Well, so the things you're talking about are things that reconnect you with your what you know to be your true self, your
right,
relationship with God, the core of your identity. We're not and when I do self-care, yeah. I mean, sometimes self-care is just I just need to like have a few hours where I don't have any responsibility. That could be
right,
self-care too. But
yeah,
it's the best in my experience has been stuff like that too, where it's like getting connected back with my true self, my relationship with God,
right.
or going out with a friend and having just some hangout time. And
Right. I
that,
think it's different for everybody. I
yeah,
mean, one of the things that really helps me is reading a good story or working on my own writing and just being like, oh, yeah, this is what I'm passionate about. Here's why. Or helping somebody with trauma stuff. I love that.
yeah,
It just
it's work. Yeah,
regrounds me in this is who God's created me to be, which we'll talk more about that when we talk about being centered. But it when you do your self-care things, and some of them are sleeping at night, getting
yes,
enough sleep so that you're not constantly
yeah,
stressed.
or eating right, eating the
Yes, that
things
is
you
a
know you
big thing
should.
for me. I
Yeah,
tend to skip lunch when I'm stressed and busy. So if I don't eat enough, well, the way that your body processes glycogen during the day, if you don't get enough nutrients in before about 3 p.m., your body doesn't store enough glycogen in your liver to sleep well through the night.
hmm.
So if you're skipping meals early in the day,
Or if your
you
big
don't sleep
meals at
well.
10 o'clock at night.
Right.
Yeah,
You're not going to sleep well at night.
yeah,
So that's something for me because I definitely, when I'm stressed, food is one of the first things for me to go. And since food goes, then sleep goes too because
yeah,
I don't have that nutrients to sleep through the night.
yeah. And just a word of caution: some people might, when if they try to indulge in self care, it might feel like you're being selfish. So
Yeah,
that's going to
it
be a
does.
and that's a self examination, ask the Holy Spirit for wisdom thing, because you could be being selfish if or it could just be a struggle to take care of yourself and you actually need to
Right.
do it.
Yeah,
Nobody
especially
else
if
can
you
tell you.
if you've been in a situation where you've been ignoring your needs for a long time, it feels really bad to start doing self-care things. It
Yeah.
feels very shameful and there's a lot of guilt but you kind of just have to do it.
Yeah. And we just threw a lot of things out there. Ask God for wisdom about that, what you even should be doing for your self-care, because, I mean, it's supposed to enlarge and enrich your soul and make you a better family member so you can come back and love
Right.
your husband or your wife and your kids and your friends. That the idea is to go away and then come back ready to engage, ready to
Right.
to meet life and be ready to go, not to
have
go away
zest for life.
not to go away and then come back, just biding your time until the next time you can go away again.
Right.
It's to be in your life more fully.
Yep. All right. Well, it is Friday, so all you people that love the weekend, you can be super excited.
My hand's up. That's me. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. So we hope that you guys have a super awesome Friday. And as we said, just pick one of these, 1% improvement.
Yep. And let us know how it went if you want
Yes,
to.
we
If
would
you
love
had
to hear how it goes.
Yeah, maybe it was scary or uncomfortable, or maybe it went great. One of the things that really makes it more easy to do this stuff is to have some other people involved.
Yes.
Even if you're just talking about it. So come on to our Facebook group and tell somebody what you tried and how it went, and we'll swap some stories.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you again next week.
Yep, we're going to spend the whole week talking about surrender and why it's hard and practical things, how to do that. All right, we love you guys. We are praying for you, and we hope that you have a fabulous Friday.
That's right. Enjoy your weekend. See you Monday.
Bye.